Having a quorum present, let's call this meeting of the Watuppa Water Board to order. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. With that, citizen input.
Just the roll.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep. Member
We
Collins.
went too far.
Here.
Member Ferrer. Here. President Terrio.
Here.
Thank you.
Item number 1, citizen input.
So there was not anybody that signed up for citizens input?
Then we shall move to item number 2 on the agenda, which is the minutes of the previous meeting, contained in your packet. If there are any omissions, corrections, the chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to number 3, proposed leak abatements. We have a total of, we have a totalized page, don't we?
Bless you.
One moment, please. We have abatements totaling $8,272.60. I was speaking with Director Furlan before the meeting. Over 95% of the leaks that we abate are toilet leaks. And I was wondering if it might not be time to make an insert in the bills beginning in the fiscal year. I was looking online at the AWWA. They had a single page, and it was very informative of things to look for, how to monitor your water meter. I thought it might be a handy thing to develop, Tom, for your bills going forward. So perhaps we could look at something like that for the next meeting. And
Yeah, definitely. I don't see. So our mailing allows us to add 2 extra pages to our bill. So it could be something that we could insert with the bill.
yeah, what I saw was a front to back 8.5 by 11 sheet, but it had some very good tips on what to look for and how to, the old food coloring in the toilet tank trick and those types of things. But when you see the size of some of these bills and the relationship to the bill prior to the bill after the repair has been made, it's a significant amount of money. So without any further ado, are there any questions regarding the abatements to be approved? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to accept the leak abatements per leak abatement policy in the amount of $8,272.60.
Make motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 4, Bisco Building Systems, Water Maintenance Building. Mr. Clerk.
So in front of you, you have a change order, increase of the contract for unit price billings. So within the contract, when the contract was bid, there were specific unit prices that were included in the contract for additional gravel above and beyond what was required within the contract. One of those was also ledge removal. So during the bidding process, the bidder gave us a unit price number, which was then tracked throughout the construction process. And then, so this is the contract adjustment for those. The other thing included within here was the winter conditions that we were paying for. So the way that this contract was bid, originally the contractor, it wasn't anticipated by the contractor or by us that there would be winter conditions for the all the subsurface work, installation of the foundation and everything like that, due to the time of the bidding and stuff like that. When we bid this project, as some of the board members know, we worked with the original low bidder of the contract and were not able to come to a contract at that point, so they weren't willing to go into contract with the city for the amount that they bid. We lost about 4 months, 5 months of construction time working with that contractor, trying to get them under contract. So that put, once we were able to award the contract to Bisco Contracting, they were then into winter conditions with things that weren't anticipated to be in winter conditions, being all the subsurface foundation, groundwork. So that's what this is in here for. It's labeled as a not, I'm looking for the board to do a not to exceed number of what is provided, $772,638.81. Because the engineers are still waiting for some additional backup just to confirm all the pricing.
So the engineer confirms the quantities. Okay, thank you.
So how would you like to handle that?
So if the board wants to approve the not to exceed $772,683.
Okay.
.81.
Then the chair would entertain a motion to accept not to exceed $772,638.81. Motion made.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Proposed, item number 5, proposed fiscal year 2024 budget of $14,799,457. And we are keeping to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53.5, that if we approve this tonight, it will go to the mayor's office tomorrow morning to comply with the 120-day rule. To fully fund the amount, we are going to be requiring item number 6. So if there are no questions regarding the budget itself, then we could entertain a motion to accept the budget at $14,799,457.
I have one question. Your salaries and wages, do you have money built in here for, by an act of God, we actually get to fill the positions that you're looking to fill?
Yeah, so all positions are budgeted.
Okay.
As well as, there is, as in past board meetings, there has been potential labor increases that has been in negotiations. My best projected sum for landing on those are included within this budget under other personnel costs in each separate division. Just to speak a little bit on what President Terrio said, the budget is required to go to the administration and the city council 120 days prior to the start of the fiscal year, which is March 3rd. So this will be brought up and go to the administration, and hopefully the administration will be sending down to the council for approval. The council then has 45 days from that time to approve reject, or deny, or reduce the budget. So to act on the budget, the council has 45 days from that time. So I expect over the next month and a half, I will be having hearings in relation to the budget and the rate in front of the city council.
Following up on Commissioner Collins' question, is we have 9 vacancies in this budget, 4 at maintenance, 5 at the treatment plant. How do we look to getting additional personnel in the treatment plant?
That is a question that we've been battling with for
Yeah.
a couple of years now.
That's a tough one.
So, yeah, it's five at the treatment plant, which includes, five in maintenance, but.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I have that
Excuse
wrong?
me, no, five in maintenance, but since then, we've also, since this budget was fully developed, we've lost, two of these staff members, so, it's actually increased from here. So, how do we get those positions filled? Again, treatment is one thing that, highly concerned about, being able to get the licensed operators down there. I was actually on the phone with DEP, the head of the Southeast Region Drinking Water Program today, and he was telling me about, he said that there's a couple other communities that he's spoken with that are also in dire need of operators. We've been able to maintain, we're down one shift operator right now, but in the rest of the time, the rest of it is staffed. I think one of our really good ways to do it is internal growth. There is a couple of individuals from the maintenance division that we're looking to cross-train and hopefully get licensed as operators. There's also an open position that we'll be advertising, hopefully for somebody with either a D1 or a T1 or a T2 to be able to come into in the lab and then be able to work their way up to be able to be a fully licensed operator to operate our plant. So I think right now internal growth is one way to do it. In the whole entire field, it's something that needs to be done. The whole entire region, really. I was just in Diamond a couple of weeks ago speaking to some of their students about water, sewer, and one thing that I always emphasize when I'm at talking to schools and students and stuff like that is the emphasis of the careers within this field. Coming into this field, you can make a very good living in either the water or the wastewater field. Water is a little bit cleaner than wastewater, but it definitely you can make a good living and make a career out of it.
Following up on that, and you often hear the chatter on talk shows and whatnot, there are no good jobs, there are no this, and we're looking at $65,000 to $70,000 range for these positions. That is significant money in this community. And we've got 3 of them open, 3 operators and 1 lab tech.
Yeah, without a doubt, that's like I said, it's definitely a career where you can make good money, and that's the base salary plus overtime, plus other benefits for licensed stipends, healthcare benefits, vacation, sick leave.
Fringe benefits, vacation, health care,
And it's a golden ticket right now to have
it really
a
is.
water operator's license or a wastewater operator's license. Right now, you can be employed almost instantly.
It's amazing. $69,000 starting salary. Well, $64,728 before.
For grade
So
4
it's
operator.
$65,000 to start. And we can't find them. Wow. Any other questions on the
Nope,
budget?
that was it, thank you.
Hearing no questions on the budget, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the budget at the amount of $14,799,457.
So moved.
Motion made,
Second.
seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We move to number 6, which is the water rate of $3.77 per hundred, which is mandatory to support the budget that was just passed.
Correct.
So without any further ado, if there are no questions, the $3.77 per hundred as of July the 1st, or the first day of the new fiscal year, would then go into ordinance.
Yep, without a doubt, so, that would be the new rate. The impact to the average household is roughly $10.60, per year. That's based on the average household, that's based on the 53 CCF that we've used historically and have calculated as an average for a household. If you combine both the water and sewer increases, on the rates, you're talking about 61 cents per week would be the increase to the average household. So
So
that's
less than a cup of coffee.
less. I think a cup of coffee is a lot more than $5 now. Sometimes I don't drink coffee, but
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's
Yeah.
less than a cup of coffee.
a lot less. So
Chair would entertain a motion to approve the rate of $3.77.
Motion made.
Motion made.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Item number 7, Article 97, protection for properties located within the city's drinking water area.
excellent, thank you.
Mr. Lavoisier.
Yes, we have Mike Lavoisier here as well on this. Sorry.
They made it big enough so you could see.
So this was a CPC grant that we were able to obtain. There was a number of properties that are owned and managed by the water department that were bought prior to the implementation of Article 97. So it was possibly there may have been some question whether Article 97 provided the protection for those lands or not. Some people say yes, some people say no. We say yes. What this is doing is providing an overlaying deed on those properties, just to determine that there actually is Article 97 protection to these properties. And I'll let Mike talk a little bit about the properties, the area,
Sure.
and what it's actually doing.
Thank you, Paul. So, when the bioreserve occurred and the city recorded a conservation restriction on most of the Watuppa reservation, and that was exactly in keeping with the purpose of owning and holding the land, which is to protect the water supply and the land surrounding the North Watuppa Pond and the Copacut. When that occurred, some of the lands were actually omitted from the conservation restriction and from the bioreserve. Land on the west side of the North Watuppa Pond, for example, land surrounding Pond Swamp, and this is our, of course, the North Watuppa Pond is our primary drinking water supply. A couple of parcels down along Blossom Road, and then the Copacut Rifle Association property, which is off of Copacut Road itself. So Article 97 is basically a constitutional part of the Mass Constitution, which states that lands that were required for the purpose of, with public funds acquired for the purpose of recreation or conservation, in this case drinking water supply, those lands require permanent protection. Any lands that we might acquire through the Community Preservation Act requires a conservation restriction. Again, permanent protection. So this is merely an overlay of the existing deeds which are already into the department, and it's an overlay which affirmatively states that these properties now have the full force of protection under Article 97. A lot of these properties were bought in the 1800s. I mean, the city began buying properties in 1895, so these acquisitions predated Article 97. But now Article 97 is very clear, and we're simply stating that we recognize that these parcels that were acquired with public funds for the purpose of watershed protection will remain protected. It's a deed of just a couple of pages. It overlays existing deeds, and we got a CPA grant to do the legal fund for it, which included title work and the creation of these documents. So that's it in a nutshell. If there are any questions, happy to answer.
No, not really. How far up Wilson does the
how far up Pond Hill?
Right,
There's a little subdivision called, I think it's called Pond Hill Drive, something
Right.
like that. So the original Watuppa Reservation boundary abuts it, and so that's where
that's it,
that's the
yeah.
boundary right there. And most of the jigs and jags here are part of the original layout that goes back to, 1908. Most of the parcels that were acquired in the early 20th century were along the west side.
Does that include Davis Playground?
No,
Okay, that is not ours at all.
I'm not saying it's not ours, I'm saying
Yeah.
this does not
Yeah, that-
include it in this
Yeah,
footprint.
that's a piece that's designated for park use, Davis Playground,
Right,
not for water department. Yeah.
okay. That'd be similar to the ball fields at,
Yes, and I would
Yeah.
presume that it would have Article 97 protection, but this is.
through the park department?
Potentially, depending on how the funds.
Right, so this project is not addressing that. This
Okay.
project is addressing the parcels that are in the water supply watershed, strictly.
May I ask a question?
Mhm.
So tracks 11 and 12, are those owned by the city, or are those owned by private properties?
All of these are owned by the city.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, that was,
Yeah, that's a good question, because, we're not we're staying in our lane.
yep, okay, yeah.
So just the process for this, it'll be, water board approval naturally, since they're the ones that oversee these properties in particular. But then it'll go for council approval as well, and then be recorded.
Okay. Are there any questions concerning this? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the move to Article 97 protection for properties located within the city's drinking water area. You have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That moves us to item number 8, updates on ongoing projects.
Yeah, if you want. So, water maintenance building, construction is pretty much complete as of right now. We are waiting for National Grid to provide a transformer for power. They have been unable to get transformers into this region, from my understanding. So we're waiting for that to come through. Other than that, it's pretty much facility startup, and then we'll be able to transition into the building. National Grid knew about this project over a year and a half ago when we signed the original contract with them to supply power. So, again, waiting on National Grid at this point. The ARPA contract, water main replacement and street reconstruction, the contract is planning to start up probably within the next month again, to be able to move that forward. As far as lead service removal contract, we're under design. We expect within a couple of weeks to be able to have that project out to bid, so that we can start with the 400 removal of the 400 lead services that are required within this calendar year.
Is there somebody currently doing outreach?
Yeah, so currently we do have one of our consultants, so Woodward and Curran and Stantec are both working together to reach out to the homeowners that we have listed, the ones that we expect to replace their lead services this year. What we want to do, we want to be able to get in and actually verify that they have a lead service. We don't want to send a contractor to the property and then find out there's no lead service. So, yeah, it's better for us to be able to do that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Make sure that the property owner is properly educated on why we want to replace the lead service, make sure that we have the property owner's permission to be able to go on their property to replace their side of the lead service. So we do have one of our resident inspectors from Stantec primarily is doing the outreach now. I believe he's been through about 100 homes, made contact with the homeowners, and he schedules an appointment with them, and then schedules a time where he can enter the house, and visually inspects the material of their service. If any customers ever do have any question, if somebody contacts you and they want to gain entry to your house, if you ever have a question, if it's related to us or not, they say they're with the water department, feel free to call the water department. We can verify that we sent somebody out there to verify your material service. They can contact the water department at 508-324-2330. Just give us a call, and then we'll verify that somebody from our department is, the one that's actually trying to, see what your service material is. But yeah, we've had a couple of deadlines with DEP in relation to our ACOP, so we have provided them all the information. We actually had one that was due. We have one coming up on the 8th. So all of the paperwork, we're getting that together to be able to submit to them for our lead service removal plan. All of the access information and informational pamphlets and everything in relation to the project was due about a month ago. We submitted that to them. So we've been working with DEP and EPA to stay on time with all the requirements within our ACOP.
That's excellent. Moving right along.
Yeah, this isn't something that we can mess around with. The one thing that I'm battling right now is the SRF program, where we get most of our funding from. We are approved for this year to receive funding. They did come out with the draft IUP, which initial use plan, intended use plan, excuse me. They came out with the draft where we're above the line with our project, but they won't initiate funding contract with us until they come out with their final IUP, which by their schedule should have been out already to date, but it's not. So trying to work with them to be able to make sure that all the work that we do that is eligible, we will be able to be reimbursed for, and making sure that we'll be able to use their program. But it's kind of a chicken or the egg, what comes first, what comes second, but we need to get the work done too. So
What if a tenant, a resident says that they don't want their line replaced, they don't want us there? What's the process for that?
So if somebody says, nope, I don't want you on my property, or hey, I just repaved my driveway, there's a possibility that you're gonna have to dig it up, I'm not letting you do that, we will leave whatever's in place. If it's a full lead service, we'll leave it in place. If it's a partial lead service from the curb stop in, we'll leave it in place. Through our requirements with DEP, we're gonna have a list of people that deny us access, essentially. We don't have the current right to be able to go onto their property and do this work. So what we're gonna do over the next couple of years, and I think we will have, a number of people that either fully non-responsive or fully just say, no, we don't want you in our basement, or we don't want you to potentially dig up our lawn. We may have a number of those. We're going to try to educate them on what the benefits are of replacing the lead service, why you don't want a lead service. I think education with those customers are going to be the key to make them really understand what the benefits are of being able to change out that lead service. That's going to be the first step that we're going to work with them hopefully over the next couple of years. Hopefully maybe 2 years from now they'll say, all right, yeah, I'll allow you to, I see the benefit now, I understand why it needs to be done, I'll let you come on and do it. So that's going to be our first step to be able to get through to some of those customers.
Okay, because my concern is the EPA comes back and says, well, you didn't, it's 100 services that you didn't do, and we get penalized even though we made every effort to make sure that they were educated and it got done. And
yeah, exactly. That's laid right out in the ACOP to be able to track anybody that denies access. So that's laid out right in there. And we will be tracking that very closely. We'll be tracking everything that we do very closely, because there are a lot of prying eyes on us. We're being watched, EPA, DEP, and we want to make sure we're a shining star at the end of this. So
The biggest incentive, I would think, is the fact that it's being paid for by someone else.
Without a doubt,
You know, 2 years from now, you say, well, I don't want the service, and then, let's say the Board of Health says, well, you've gotta get rid of lead water services in order to rent apartments or something along those lines. Now you're talking about paying for the full cost of this versus the federal government underwriting parts of it.
yeah, no, 100%. You know, as we get further down the line with the changes that are going to be required in the revised lead and copper rule that fully come into effect in 2024, and potentially any other future changes that may come down from either HUD standards or other, organizations, it may get to the point where we may have to, those people that are really holdouts, we may be looking for this board or somebody to potentially, if somebody doesn't want to change it, they may have, Board of Health may make it a condition that we discontinue water service. I don't know, those are speculations right now. I'm hoping through education that we'll be able to reach out to everybody and, help them understand the benefits to them of replacing their lead service.
Thank you.
Excellent. That brings us to item number 9, which is other potential matters. Do we have any other potential matters? Hearing none, Chair would move to entertain a motion to leave. To adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.